Ready? Thank you to the Altman Foundation and Horace W. Goldsmith Foundation for helping make the PROJcast possible.
Yeah, nailed it.
Welcome to our show. Join our flow. It's the 52nd Street PROJcast.
From the heart of Hell's Kitchen, this is the PROJcast, a podcast created by the community at the 52nd Street Project. We're a nonprofit in New York City that partners kids in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood with professional artists. I'm John Sheehy, Director of Institutional Advancement here at the project. In this episode, we have two special pieces: an interview with a Smart Partner pair about Hell's Kitchen, and a song from our songmaking program that was performed at our gala last May. First up, we have Smart Partners Nicole and Joanna Parson. The pair met a few years ago during Storytelling, one of our new platforms programs, and that collaboration launched their Smart Partnership. They have done so many different kinds of Smart Partner adventures that we had Program Director Garrett Kim sit down to ask them about their experiences both as Smart Partners and as fellow citizens of Hell's Kitchen. In fact, on one of their recent outings before this was recorded back in March 2018, Nicole had brought Joanna to her favorite hole-in-the-wall restaurant, Zora Lee, which is here in the neighborhood on 51st and 10th Avenue. Take a listen.
All right. Hi, everybody. We are back in the studio. And with me, I have the Smart Partners, Nicole and Joanna Parson. How are you two doing today?
Hi, doing so good.
I'm doing all right.
Cool. So, welcome you two. I brought you in here because I want to hear all that has happened with the two of you, both as Smart Partners and individually. And I also wanted to ask a few questions as they relate to your adventure that you had. So let's just start with the facts. How long have the two of you been Smart Partners now?
It's been like a year and a half, basically. A little less than a year and a half, probably. If we did this a year ago, it was probably only a couple months before after we'd met. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
I think about December or January.
Yeah,
around that time.
When
period.
we did the storytelling show. Yeah.
Yes, storytelling.
Another one of...
When it all began in our new platforms, which we did, and if you have been listening to the podcast, you have heard Nicole's amazing story about finding out that she's going to be a big sister.
Yeah, and guess what?
What, Joanna?
She is a big sister.
Yes, she is. That's one of the changes that has happened in the last year. How has sisterhood been treating you?
It's been very, very difficult.
What has been the hardest adjustment for you to make?
Well, I don't really remember being an only child. Honestly, people ask me all the time, what's the difference between being an only child and a big sister? A big sister, he doesn't really do anything yet, but I'm sure it'll change when he's older and he can communicate better. But now he does cute little things with no teeth, and he'll just poke the playpen with one finger, and I'll poke it with the other, and I'll say E.T. or something like that. We'll do some cute stuff.
Nice. Yeah.
Nicole is really good with kids, too. So at the different ages that I've seen her with, you'll be fine.
Yeah, cool. And now, part of the reason why I was excited to talk to the two of you is that both of you live in the neighborhood. Obviously, all of the project members, they live in the neighborhood, but it's not as common that we have volunteers also living in the neighborhood. So this question is for each of you. How long have you lived in Hell's Kitchen?
I have lived in Hell's Kitchen since 1996.
Whoa!
I know.
Whoa.
I know. Clear, obviously before I was born, because I'm, 21.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, 96. I first lived for 6 months with a friend on 57th Street, and then I moved to my own apartment where I've lived this whole time.
Wow. Okay, so not only just in the neighborhood, but in the same place in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Cool.
And for a while, my mother moved to the city and lived also in Hell's Kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Cool. And what about you, Nicole?
I've lived in Hell's Kitchen my whole entire life in the same exact apartment, which my dad moved to when he was 2, but he still lived in the neighborhood, and he was born in 1975.
Wait, so he's been in the same apartment since he was 2?
Yeah, and he's going to be 43.
Wow.
We are true believers.
Yeah. So we're talking to the right people here about like Hell's Kitchen residents. Amazing.
Yeah.
What about living in this neighborhood do you enjoy?
I love that we're close to the center of the city, but you would never know. We're close to Times Square, but when you start walking west, you're in a neighborhood. And I remember asking another, my first smart partner, we were walking by a bunch of tourists who were going to a Broadway show, and I was like, aren't you proud that like the world comes to visit our neighborhood? And she was like, yeah, but they don't pay attention to us. They they don't know what's going on, on 9th and 10th Avenues.
Yeah, like on the side streets, yeah.
Yeah. And I just love having both of those things within walking distance.
Yeah, adding on to that, you have everything here. The Empire State Building's pretty close in the 30s. So you could just walk from there if you live in that end of Hell's Kitchen. You can walk to Times Square, as Joanna said. There's so many beautiful parks close to Central Park. Yeah. There's everything. And then also, although it's so big, you can have a lot of tight-knit friends and family here.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I think other members who have talked about living in the neighborhood have said, and that we definitely like see at the project, is like you're in this like neighborhood that feels like at the center of everything, but like there's so many like really tight-knit families and communities, and like the street fair is coming up like in about a month or so, and like like that's the kind of thing where I feel like you go and you see like everyone is like everyone's out on the street like celebrating, having a good time, because it's such the community is actually a lot tighter than someone who might just be walking through this neighborhood would think, or like like just going to a restaurant on 9th Avenue would assume.
For sure. Like because I'm an actor, I'll leave town, frequently, which I think is part of why I've stayed here for so long, is because I also get out. But when you get back, you see somebody inevitably, like really quickly. Once you get back to Hell's Kitchen, you'll like run into somebody at a bodega, and it feels great.
Is there anything about living in this neighborhood that you wish might be different, or that is difficult?
The sidewalks are small, and they get more and more crowded every year. So sometimes I walk in other parts of the city, and it's like, oh my gosh, they really know how to do sidewalks in Tribeca. What about you, Nicole?
I don't really know. That's a hard one. I really love Hell's Kitchen. I feel like if I had to change something, I don't even know. I don't think I would change anything.
That's great. Yeah.
Maybe the schools, so that so many people don't have to like leave the neighborhood to get to a good school.
Yeah, because that's something that you do, right? Where's your school again?
My elementary school was on 96th and 3rd Avenue. And
that takes like 3 hours and 45 minutes for listeners.
Oh yeah. If you don't live in New York and are wondering, we're on 10th Ave, and Nicole, you going to a school on 3rd Ave, so that's like basically across town, and then you also have to go north. That's a really difficult commute.
Like if you walked it would probably be 30 minutes plus. It'd be over an hour.
Yeah, how long would it take you to get to your elementary school?
Well, if my dad were to drive me, about 30 or so minutes, but that's
even that
traffic is okay.
Time. Right.
And then if I'm taking the trains, it'll be, I think, also about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It'd be during rush hour.
Yeah.
And then now I'm even
where do you go now?
Further. Well, avenue-wise.
Right.
I'm not street-wise, though. But I go to school on 20th and 19th between 2nd and 1st, which is also pretty far.
Yeah.
And I take the bus home every day, and school ends at 2:20, and I'm at the project at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, Yeah, and that's one of the things we've been noticing. I've talked about on the podcast too, that it used to be that everyone was going to school right across the street. And especially once the middle school got shut down, it's like even if you were going to elementary school across the street, you'd have to go to a school further away.
But good news for high school.
I'll be going
Yes.
to Beacon, which is 12 blocks away.
Yes, we're very, very proud of you, Nicole. That's a very
Thank
difficult
you.
school to get into, so congratulations. So first of all, Hell's Kitchen has kind of turned into like a place where people meet to go like to not fancy but like trendy restaurants and stuff like that now. I feel like more and more. I don't know what it used to be like. Do you remember if it was like a hangout spot
I
when
think
you like
it's
first moved to the neighborhood?
It's definitely got more, going out on Friday and Saturday nights than it used to, for sure. It was more locals and then just a few restaurants and stuff.
Yeah, Nicole, I see you nodding your head. Would you agree with that? There's more like...
Yeah, like 9th and 8th Avenue, for instance, they have a lot more bars, pubs, restaurants. So I see a lot more people on those avenues than the rest.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. Like, as soon as you get to 10th Avenue, like a lot of like the tourists and like the people who like don't live in the neighborhood or who are just like meeting up with friends are like, they kind of clear out, and it feels a lot more like what you were saying,
better.
Joanna. It's a lot more residential. And what I love is that you two went to like what we might consider like a hole in the wall place that not everyone would think to go to. Like I've walked by and it's kind of like sunk in. It's like it's not on like an avenue. It's kind of sunken down. Like you have to go down some steps, and it's like you don't always see the sign if you're like kind of rushing by in a hurry.
Yeah.
Are there any other secrets or like holes in the wall or like things that you love to do that someone who might not be living in the neighborhood wouldn't know about?
Ooh, the secrets of Hell's Kitchen. Well,
Yeah, if it's
obviously-
really good secret, like obviously like don't tell us because we don't want to like spoil that for everyone. But
Well, everybody should know about the project shows, that they're free and they exist in Hell's Kitchen. That's something that, like, I try to spread the word because, because it's wildly entertaining.
yeah, I mean, we're definitely biased in this room, but I feel like it's the best free entertainment in the city.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, other than the project,
Oh, I would say the karaoke places like on 53rd and 8th. There's a pretty good karaoke place that feels like something you wouldn't think of. You wouldn't think to come to this neighborhood to do karaoke, but there's that. And what were you going to say?
oh yeah, that was also part of my story because I found out that I was going to become a big sister in karaoke, in
yep.
Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
But also, a lot of people tend to go to the middle avenues more, like 9th and 8th. But if you go to 12th Avenue, it's really pretty because you can be right next to the Hudson River and you can see the river view. And there's like a little park on, I believe, 56th if you keep walking down.
Yeah, like 56th, 55th, 54th. It's like right on. I know exactly what that big like ship in the bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's a good secret is the community garden on 48th between 9th and 10th. Do people talk about that?
I mean, I've seen it. I've walked in. I've walked by. But yeah.
It's you can get a key, and they have like plots for gardening, but they also have just a really beautiful landscaped kind of zen vibe. That's a good one.
I'm trying to think if there's any other places. I know that there's definitely more, but I just have to think.
Yeah. I mean, like even like Clinton Park, I would say is like that's kind of the place that all of you go to hang after school in the summer when it's nice. I heard one of our members say today, like, this is like, it's going to be park day pretty soon. It's going to be a park day. And we're like, oh, they're going to be outside. We're never going to see them again until the fall. But yeah, there's a lot of like nice things to do. Sometimes I've even just like walked down like the path on the river, and like that even is so nice.
And it has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, that used to be just piles of rocks and construction cones.
Totally.
You know? And with big gaps in like what you could ride a bike on down. Yes.
Also, in that area, you can rent out a kayak and you can go kayaking in the Hudson River. Or if you keep walking down to the 40s or the 30s, you can see a helipad area. Helipad? I don't know how you say
Yeah,
it.
where like the helicopters to land on. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
and-
you're talking about. Yeah.
One time I went biking there on the path, and I got to see helicopters take off and land, and it's really cool.
Ooh, cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Oh, this is another just random secrets things that I'm thinking about things that I've actually told people recently. And the Salvation Army on 46 between like right near 11th is the largest, most like excellent Salvation Army for thrift shopping. They don't price by brand or fabric. So if you just sort of like, if you have a nose for silk, you can get a good deal.
So I know you two have done a lot of Smart Partners, and that's part of the reason why I was really excited to talk to you, because I feel like you've done a lot of very different Smart Partner adventures together. And I was wondering if you could talk about, in like the time that you've been together, like maybe like one or two of the adventures that are like most memorable or special or stick out in your mind. Hit it, Nicole.
One of my favorite Smart Partner meetings that I had with Joanna is when we did a D'Agostino's scavenger hunt. So we went on their website.
I'm so intrigued. Yeah, say more.
We went on their website and we made clues about different brands, such as a fact about the company or like a fun fact about the product or just a pun with the name of it. And we looked around and we took turns saying clues and we tried to find it and run around in D'Agostino's, and we didn't buy anything, so that probably was pretty annoying.
It was kind of an empty-ish time for them.
Yeah.
We liked it so much we did it again at the
CVS.
at the CVS, and they were not having us.
They were so mad.
Yeah.
But the D'Agostino's was fun.
Yeah, you can kind of get away with that a little bit more in the
Yeah.
D'Agostino's.
I remember, like, I
CVS.
was at home, coming up with my clues, and I'd read one to my boyfriend, and he'd be like, "Oh, that's corny," and I would be so gratified when Nicole was like, "Oh, that was a good one."
Are your clues like online somewhere, or like do you have them printed off that like if someone else wanted to attempt the Nicole and Joanna scavenger hunt adventure, they could do that?
I have them on my cell phone. I can read out one or two if you'd like.
Yes, why don't you do that? I'd love to hear what some of these puns are like. Normally we say no to cell phones here at the project, but we're gonna make an exception.
I got it. So, this one's really bad. This is the first one that popped up. There's a spy movie called Blank Impossible, but I'm sure they didn't eat burritos.
Mission Impossible. Mm-hmm. So I'd have to go to the burritos and like find Mission brand burritos.
Yeah, they have Mission Tortillas.
Oh,
Yes.
got it.
I remember something along the lines of like, why was this honeydew melon really upset when she couldn't get married? Or I was trying to make a pun on cantaloupe.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It worked eventually.
Amazing.
Oh, try it at home.
Oh, that would be very fun. Yeah. Joanna, do you have something that sticks out in your mind?
Well, we've been to some movies, which is always fun, and we just went to the Liberty Science Center.
Yes,
and saw the
just
largest.
last week.
Just last week, saw the largest planetarium in the hemisphere. They
Yes.
told us it was
Amazing.
It was new and scary and awesome.
In New Jersey, you also like took a little train ride during the spring break last week, right?
Yes, yeah, that
Cool.
was a little bit like, can we do this? I don't even know if I can do this, and we did it.
I memorized the stops of almost every train there. I
Yes.
think I memorized the path, the light rail, and I memorized half of the ones from the E train.
Cool.
Yeah, but it was easy to get there eventually, right? I mean, yeah, we did it
Cool. So if you have a day, if you're into space in the solar system,
for sure.
and what's it called again?
The Liberty Science Center.
Great. Now you know, friends. Cool. I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about the fundraiser that you had. I I think we were talking about this a little bit earlier today, Nicole, but the Puerto Rico fundraiser that you had, would you two be able to talk a little bit about like just what exactly that was and stuff?
Yeah, you're right. We do cool stuff.
You do really cool stuff. And like that was really cool because it was like also like for a really good cause. So yeah.
Well, the first, like, I think we had just started up, and I was like, Nicole, what do you want to do? And the first thing I was like, oh, I don't know if we can do that. And then the second thing was like this.
I think it was our first partner meeting of the year, and I said, oh, we should bake. And then you said, yeah, we can bake next week. And then I said, you know what? We should bake for a good cause. And then we thought of Puerto Rico because my family lives in Puerto Rico, so that's near and dear to my heart. But we did it for everybody, and we raised $200 in 1 hour of selling popcorn and lemonade.
Yeah, that was amazing. You like went down, there's a little like booth downstairs, like on the street level, and you just like popped open the window and like started doing it.
Yeah. It was a show. I had given a little Facebook shout out so that I knew that there would be some people coming by.
Yeah, and I told my mom, who told a lot of her peers. And shout out to Jaylene and Dava for helping us out.
Yes,
big
smart
time.
partners, Jaylene and Dava Dupree for helping out. Yeah, and so you made all this popcorn, you raised all this money, and then how did you figure out like what group to donate the money to? Did you have an idea when you started off, or like did you do some research?
Well, I have a passion for Hamilton and Lin-Manuel Miranda. So instantly I thought of the Hispanic Federation because he's Puerto Rican and the money has been proven to go over there and he's doing a lot for Puerto Rico. So I thought we contribute to that cause, the
Yes.
Hispanic Federation.
Hispanic Federation, yeah. It's good. I'm so glad that you did a little bit of research. That's really smart of you because sometimes with some of these organizations, you'll donate the money, but it doesn't always go directly towards the cause that you're hoping to donate for. You know, like it's crazy, but not all charitable organizations are created equally. So I'm glad you did that research. And then obviously, yeah, I'm also obsessed with Hamilton.
You can use that music underneath, right?
Yeah, we'll email Lynn and see if we can use some
If we
Hamilton.
can.
Or that great song that they made.
Oh yeah.
Almost Like Praying. You've heard that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And obviously, Nicole, but there are a lot of young people here at the project with ties to Puerto Rico. So if you're listening and you are wondering how you can help, because it's not all. A lot of it's not all better, right? There's still a lot to be done to repair. It was a very destructive storm that hit. So the Hispanic Federation, right?
Yes.
I got that right? Yes.
Yeah.
So go look them up. Maybe we'll we'll give them a shout out in the bio for this episode. But yeah, call to action. That'd be a great way to still support all of our fellow citizens in Puerto Rico.
Fellow citizens, for sure.
Yeah. Because, it's usually not immediately after that they need help. It's continued for sometimes years.
We were looking at the map the other day, and you were showing me how your people in one town still don't have power.
They only targeted the main cities first, and then they
Right.
started going to other popular ones, and towns close to San Juan, like Cagua, still don't even have power. I know my family lives on this hill called Beatriz, and there's no power still, and it's been 6 months since.
Right. So definitely check out the Hispanic Federation because we want to help. What I think is so great that you two decided to do this of your own volition and take your smart partner time to help others, and that's really admirable.
Nicole's idea.
Yes, Nicole.
I would have been lounging,
We would have been baking cookies, but instead we were making popcorn for social justice. Amazing. Is there anything else before we wrap up here?
Specifically about Hell's Kitchen too.
Anything?
Well, if you can't donate money to the Hispanic Federation, you can also find places like your local fire station that actually ship out stuff to Puerto Rico. So for instance, at my school, I raised 24 boxes of supplies in a 300 kids school over the course of 8 days alone. And my mother and I also did a gathering where we donated money from raffles, so a lot more money. And if you came to claim your prize, or if you came to the gathering, you had to bring something to donate to Puerto Rico. So we raised about 48, I think twice as much as we got in the school. We raised from that.
Amazing.
Cool.
Yes.
I guess I would also just say, like, support your smaller hole-in-the-wall restaurants and be adventurous and go to eat at places like we went to, because they're looking to make your dinner delicious.
Yes. There's more.
There's more
to life. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Joanna. And that's where we'll leave it for today.
Okay. Thank you, Garrett.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks to Nicole and Joanna Parson and our own Garrett Kim for that awesome discussion. If you'd like to hear Nicole's story that they referenced from the storytelling program, check out PROJcast Episode 2, Let Me Tell Ya. And now for an original song, Jump Off, with lyrics written by project member Ryan and composed by volunteer Brian Blasky. Jump Off was written for our songmaking program last fall, more on songmaking in a moment, and it was performed at our gala in May 2018, and it features music director Avi Amon on the keyboards, Doug Derryberry on guitar, Chris Schultz on percussion, and was performed by Jin Ha. And here's Ryan to introduce his song.
Hi, my name is Ryan. My partner Brian helped me make the lyrics and made the sheet music for my song. Brian is the best partner I ever had. When I was stuck, he gave me ideas. The song I'm going to present is Jump Off. On my song, I learned a lesson when I was ziplining on my best friend Dean's 11th birthday. This song relates to me. I also want to thank the singer for my song, Jin Ha, because he is an amazing singer. Now I'm going to present the song.
It was my best friend Dean's 11th birthday, going ziplining and jumping on obstacles. I felt anxious about ziplining, scared that I would fall, even though I had a safety harness. Afraid that it might break, afraid the line snaps, afraid that I might hurt myself. It wasn't a good feeling. So I still wanted to experience ziplining. I had to do parkour to reach the zip line. I have a fear of heights, but I won't have a chance to zip line again for a long time. And I can't go back. So I felt a burst of confidence when I knew that the zip line wasn't long. Then I attached my harness to the line, I held it tightly, and then jumped off. It felt fast. I was gliding like Batman using his grappling hook. I saw the top of the trees, little kids, and a campfire. The ground was very far from me, like the distance from the moon and earth. It was a crazy new experience that I never felt before. The zip line slowed down. It was near over. I bounced off a wooden platform. Even though the zip line was only 15 seconds, it felt really quick, like if I was a flash. I felt relaxed, and it was fantastic. I felt happy and brave like a lion. You don't have to be scared. You can accomplish anything if you don't give up. Do what I do and jump off. Jump off. Jump off. Jump off. Jump
And that was Jump Off, with lyrics by Ryan and music by Brian Blasky. Thanks again to Avi Amon, Doug Derryberry, Chris Schultz, and Jean Ha for bringing Jump Off to life. If you enjoyed listening to Jump Off, be sure to check out this year's songmaking concert, Songs of Hell's Kitchen, on Friday, November 16th at 7:30 p.m. 5 project members have been working with 5 composers from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts Music Theater Writing Program, and a company of super talented singers will be bringing 15 original songs to life. That's Friday, November 16th, here at our Five Angels Theater. To reserve your free ticket, head over to 52project.org. And now for the credits. The project members featured in this episode are Nicole and Ryan. The adults featured in this episode were Joanna Parson, Brian Blasky, Avi Amon, Doug Derryberry, Chris Schultz, and Jin Ha. The project theme song was created by Justin and his smart partner Eric March and was performed by Miranda Anderson, Rebecca, and Nicole. The PROJcast logo was created by Iris Brown. Audio assistance from Jonathan Anderson, Avi Amon, and Brian Freeland. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search the 52nd Street Project and look for the 5E and 2E in our logo. The 52nd Street Project is supported by public funds from the New York City's Department of Cultural Affairs and by the New York State Council on the Arts. The 52nd Street Project is a nonprofit organization, and we're able to do what we do because of generous folks like you. Please go to our website, 52project.org/donate to check out how you can support us. Every little bit helps. Don't forget to reserve your seats for our songmaking concert, Songs of Hell's Kitchen, on Friday, November 16th, 7:30 p.m. And we'll see you back here in a few weeks for more PROJcast.
See you next month.
Wait,
Nothing rhymes with month. On the 52nd Street PROJcast.